Bustling Barcelona plunged into darkness, residents stranded due to trains also having no electricity, and tourists spending the night in airports and stations. It was just one day, with life back to normal soon enough. But the obvious question was, how could this happen? Some blamed a sudden solar energy failure at a time when the sun was shining brightly. The solar power plants responded as planned, in line with the grid codes. When a disruption occurred that caused the power outage, they shut down. Their protection mechanisms were closed, as planned. The system worked as it ought to. So who was to blame? Nobody accepted responsibility, neither electricity suppliers nor grid operator Red Electrica, the company tasked with ensuring the balance of supply and demand, as well as voltage, is always just right. Experts assume that the cause was a complicated one. The design of the grids means that outages can occur. So, if the entire grid went down, it's because more than one thing failed. In November, for example, 2 conventional plants went down within a very short space of time, and the grid stayed up. And those were 2 big plants. So any power outage now would be due to a combination of many different factors. So at what point did the failure occur between generation and use? On June 17th, a good 6 weeks after the blanket power outage, the minister responsible presented the preliminary findings of an investigation. There were several factors leading to the total blackout. We have indications that there was too little capacity to control the voltage. There were various reasons. On the one hand, poor planning, but also because operators did not follow standard procedure, meaning human error on the part of both producers and those responsible for the network. The investigation is still ongoing. For experts, however, the grid itself is a problem in Spain. Investment in Spain is lower than elsewhere in Europe, whether you measure it per kilometre or per user. The power outage has shown that the system's lines and control mechanisms need improving, but the minister also announced plans to expand Spain's relatively modest electricity connections to France. The right approach? A larger network would have favoured more French or Central European resources. But for me, focusing on battery storage seems to be faster and cheaper, especially for taxpayers. Batteries are cheaper and quicker to acquire than investing in the connection to France. Spain is a pioneer in clean energy, but so far the government has neglected the full potential of solar and wind, and the role of batteries in grid stabilisation. Right now, nuclear and gas-fired power plants can ensure that an appropriate voltage level is maintained. But not all of them were in operation on the day of the blackout. All renewable energy plants ensuring that the voltage is regulated not only improves capacities throughout Spain, as we'll be going from a few hundred plants to thousands, but the costs for consumers will also be a lot lower. When the Spanish grid was brought back online, this hydroelectric power station near Valencia played a leading role. Having a pumped storage plant means that it functions like a large battery. Experts say Spain should be investing more in such facilities. The nationwide power outage and its wider impact have revealed weaknesses. The government will have to adapt supervision and regulation to prevent Spain from being brought to a standstill again, and in the process instill confidence in a reliable energy supply for households and businesses.